And with this, I think I'll be just going into today's session. And good morning, one and all who has logged in to listen to me. And we have been going through this type of classrooms where face-to-face traditional classrooms and pandemic has made a shift into the same classroom to online. And I would just like you all to just share with every one of us uh, about the pedagogical challenges, that is the teaching challenges that you must have faced in the past year. You can just scan this QR code and take part in this poll, or you can just type in slido.com and put this number, and you will be entering into the poll. Either you can scan the QR code, or you can just go into slido.com and enter the number. You will be able to reach the poll and give the poll. Dr. Sharmila, you can just post this number in the chat box.
Yes, I'll do.
It is /273574. You can open Google, type in slido.com, and once you put in that this number /273574, you will be entering into a poll. Or you can scan this QR code, it will directly take you to the poll. Yes, the answers have started coming. Not much interaction with students. No eye-to-eye contact, unable to judge the comprehension of students. Exactly. Every one of us faced that. Less interaction from students. Yes. Lack of student participation. Very tough to make students get involved. Exactly. Everyone had that problem. I would invite every one of you to just give their opinion. We will have more challenges to discuss about. Poor knowledge of technical expertise, of course, and not much interaction with the students. Monitoring their presence is difficult, yes. Difficult to obtain feedback from students. Students hesitate to talk. Okay. Lack of communication between student and teachers. No interaction. I think that interaction is the one that is getting in more oats. Either interaction between teachers and students and students and students. We are not sure whether the student or their family members are attending the class. Exactly, many times. Network issues, very important thing which every one of us face during this online classes. Yeah. Any more answers or any more challenges you faced? Almost, I think. And if you can just see multiple challenges. each one faced different. And I think 21 people have attempted this poll, and I have like equal number of people telling different issues, like network issue, 2 or 3 people have put in probably. And you see, each one of this is equally being represented. So that means each one of us has faced at one time or other all these issues. Very tough to make the students get involved, right? Student do not respond to our call. So we have so much of issues and challenges when we are going into using technology for delivering our classes. Yes, I think still more people are trying to put in their answers. Yes. Thank you for those who participated and gave in their opinion. I'll just give a second for the others if they want to just put in their challenges so that we will be able to know it. Yeah. Okay. So if these are all the challenges like network issues, majority of the thing is not able to get our students involved, and then there is so much of diversion that can happen in between. And when all these are the ones which we have been facing so far in this past 1.5 years, what we need definitely will be striking a balance between whatever we have been doing in our traditional classrooms with whatever we want to give through online. So striking a balance is very essential. That is where the blended learning comes into place. So if by the end of this, probably an hour, we will be able to describe different kinds of blended learning, identify the advantages and challenges in developing the course, and identify the technological tools available for designing and creating the content and activities for the course, and align those with the learning outcomes, assessments, and teaching learning activities, and create a plan for implementing it. Maybe I have put a lot more objectives, but don't get frightened by this many objectives in one go. It will all be very smoothly going. We will see in the next unfolding. All these will be happening in next an hour. So I will just like you to go through this scenario. A class by Mr. X. He's a faculty in physiology and he has posted lesson plans, assignments, problems, quizzes, everything online to his students so that they can access it from the hostel as well as in the classroom. And fortunate, he has an Wi-Fi enabled classroom. So he wanted to use the classroom facility and he has asked the students also to bring in the devices to the class and to take part in a problem-based scenario he has posted already online. The students were asked to solve the case-based or the problem-based scenario as a group using Google Docs. And he was going around the class when the students were busy solving their problems in the group. And whenever there is any query, he was clearing or clarifying those queries. So I think most of you will be able to relate to such a classroom, right? So I would like you to just share whether how many of you agree that Dr. X is using blended learning in his class, and how many of you are not sure about it, and how many of you disagree to this. So we are just analyzing Dr. X class scenario. Okay. So you can the same way you can just scan the QR code or you can just type in slido.com and in that put this number, you will be seeing this question. I have 4 people answered so far, and the majority is saying yes, agreed. Okay. There are a few people who disagree also. Good. Yes, still there are few people are now not sure about. Okay. You can all just give in your opinion. I think more and more people are not sure about, but still agrees, takes the lead. Good. Few more people can just try this activity. I'll give just half a minute time for you. So you see that majority of the people who have taken the poll, I think 17, 18, 18th person is just putting in. And slowly, as the number of people who are polling in increases, the lead margin of agreeing comes down. And people are now not sure whether it is blended or not. No, agreeing to the blended classroom is still taking a lead. Okay. So if majority of you are still agreeing to that Dr. X is using a blended learning in his class, thank you for those who have attempted this poll. We'll just see what it means to us. So if we just go and see, Dr. X has used internet or online merely to host information. He has put the assignments, he has put the case scenarios, everything he has put there. So it is merely a portal for hosting the information. And he has not managed to deliver the content or the instruction through that. That is one of the observations. And the students are using devices on their own. Exactly. But they are seeing the same problem at the same time, sitting in the same classroom. So there is no element of control of over time, place, or path of learning for each and every individual person. And also, the usage of Google Docs for solving the problems. He has meant it to give the Google Docs because as a group they can solve. But if they are going to sit in one classroom and they are simultaneously or synchronously doing Google Docs, and it is no different from just taking a paper and pen and writing it down and solving the problem. So these are the certain observations which we can make out of Dr. X classroom. And if this is what it is happening, Dr. X classroom is absolutely a technology rich classroom. There is no doubt about it. He has used technology to use in different activities. But there is no shift of learning instruction that gives the student an element of control. So mixing technology to our face-to-face class or delivering class through online is not synonymous to blended learning. And that is what, unfortunately, most of us are doing so far. We have been using technology and we have been synchronously doing it. And it is little bit far away from what exactly blended learning is all about. So we have face-to-face learning where the physical presence of both students and instructor will be in the same time, that is synchronous. On the other hand, we have online learning, which happens through internet or any of the portals where there is no face-to-face interaction. So it is asynchronous. So when you just combine these two things in the blended bridge, we have to align this face-to-face learning component with the online component in such a way that it's a blended learning is nothing but an asynchronous internet communication technology into live teaching, and it serves to facilitate a simultaneous, independent and collaborative learning experience. Just in short, if you ask me what blended learning is, it is nothing but having a cocktail or a mocktail. If you are able to prepare a cocktail or a mocktail, that is what we need to do exactly in blended learning. So now I'm going to take you through different steps how to make a cocktail or mocktail. So just forget about all those terminologies, whatever, and we will go very simple and then learn what it is all about blending. So there are many advantages to blending. It provides students with autonomy, flexibility, ownership, self-pacing, self-directed learning, and self-engagement. And out of all these things, finally, it creates interest for the student to learn. Okay. So let us take another poll from you. Kindly think about and share with us the challenges of developing a blended learning course in our institution. So I have just told you blended learning means you have to have two components and it has to be mixed properly. So if that is the thing, think about your own institution and what are all the challenges which comes to your mind. Can you just share with us? You can just take the same slido.com. The number is also same, or either you can scan on the QR code and enter whatever is your thoughts. So that if you want to develop a blended learning course in your institution, what are all the challenges you might face or you think you will face? Okay, the first one comes as lack of providing sufficient faculty training. Yes, learning the technology. Of course, we are not digital natives just unlike our students who are digital natives, and it will be little difficult for us. A steep learning curve we all have to go through, but we will be able to do it. Still adequate training required before implementing the same. Of course, training. Video recording facilities. Yes. Audio visual tools and technical support unavailable. Many places it is not there exactly. So the technical support, I think, is the major one that has come out as one of the challenges. Every time the same faculties are provided the training. Okay. And proper gadgets are needed. Yes, we will address that also. Student teacher ratio. Okay. So I think if you think about your own institution and if you want to start in the blended learning program there, for your institution, the major challenge is the technical support. That is what I can see from those 8 people who have put in their answers. I think few have put in multiple options also, multiple answers also. I appreciate everyone who has just shared in their views. No chance for young faculty. Okay. Inability to teach clinicals. We will see that also, whether it can be taught or not, whether it is not possible. Definitely, I'll take you there also. Maintaining uniformity in teaching. Okay. Implementing teaching methodology using technical support. Bedside teaching. Yes. Infrastructure limitations. So as you think about the scenario itself, think about putting in a blended learning, you are now finding in so much of probable challenges. So lack of robust system. So you just see here, if you can just see again and again, the technical support or the infrastructural support is the main thing that every one of you perceives as probably the major challenge. So students participate in asynchronous part might be less. Yes, we have to keep track of that also. Exactly. Okay, if you think technical expertise or limitation of the technical support and the limitation of training that is given to your faculties are the major challenges when we think about implementing a blended learning scenario in your institution. I'm just going to tell you the recipes and equipments that are nothing but the prerequisites to start blending our cocktail. Okay. So for any blended course, let it be a short course, let it be a long course, let it be the full MBBS course, or let it be one subject, never mind. The first thing will be the institution. The institution should have a very visionary goal to get blended learning into their domain. Then the capacity building needs to happen, and the readiness of each and every faculty involved with teaching needs to be ensured. That is the first prerequisite that needs to be done, without which we will not be able to do anything, of course. The next one will be the approaches. So as a team, as an institution, you have to decide what type of blended learning approach you need to do. So by that, I'm just letting you know that there are multiple approaches of blended learning that is available. And the next one is, once you have decided a particular approach is the one you are going to do for a particular module, particular subject, or a chapter of a subject, let it be, you will be creating a course blueprint for that. So it can be a course blueprint, it can be a module blueprint, it can be a chapter blueprint. And if you are now you are going into competencies, it can be a competency blueprint. So whatever may be, you will be just making out a blueprint of lesson plan and what are all the things you will be going to do. So when you have all these in your hand, so the equipment and the recipe that is needed for making our blended cocktail is ready with us. So now we will be just seeing what are all the things which in little details about those ingredients or the recipes. So actually these are the recipes. So let us visit this. Dr. Izzat, an assistant professor in surgery, planned a schedule like the students to visit the stations in a fixed slot. So he has made certain stations. He divided 15 students into 3 groups and he made 3 stations. At one station, he briefed the students. The next was a group work station where the students were made to solve a case. And the final station was a hands-on simulation station for practicing the technique related to whatever the case is about. So Can any one of you guess or tell what type of model is acting over here? What type of blending Dr. Izzard has attempted? You can just put it in the chat box, or you can unmute and tell also. Anybody who wish to volunteer to just so there are 3 stations. Students are divided into those stations in a fixed manner, and they are asked to go between the stations. So you can just unmute and tell me whatever. Or you can just put it in the chat box also. Dr. Sharmila, can you just see the chat box and if any answers have come in?
Yes, ma'am. So it is, everyone has put like it's an ASCII station, simulation model, ASCII, flipped classroom, ASPI, DAOP. So these are the answers.
Okay. Thank you for your answers. Let us see what exactly is this that is happening. As many of you has told it as an ASCII station, I just want to differ with you all, saying that, okay, it is a doing station, but the Dr. Izzard has made in 3 different stations where 3 different activities are happening. One is a teacher-led activity, another is a group collaborative activity, and another is a technological station where simulation, where the student will be practicing. So the students are made to rotate between these stations to learn in connection about a particular case which they have been discussing. So this is nothing but, we call this as a rotation model. And this rotation model is best when you want hands-on practice for your students with a rigid training schedule. So he has made 5 students, each group, he has scheduled how much of time each one has to go to each one of this. So it is a very rigid training schedule where there is no flexibility, but still you wanted to do blended. Then the rotation model, especially in labs where you have such type of lab work to be done, at the same time you need collaboration to happen and you need to have a face-to-face interaction also. The rotation model of blended learning is the best one that you can choose for particular scenario. There is another one scenario which we will go through. This is Dr. S made a video presentation of the principles behind the staining procedure and shared with the students before the practical class. She also added a small self-assessment for the student to attend it. On the practical hour, the students were made to perform the staining on their own. Following that, she had a session of debriefing and clearing the doubts and asked the students to do a reflection on whatever that has happened. I think you must be just relating yourself to this scenario more probably. Can anyone tell what is this? What model is acting over here?
So answers are coming like flipped classroom model.
Yes, very good. This is exactly flipped. So where you have given the materials prior for the student to take it on their own time, and in the class they are going to do the activity and followed by a post assessment in terms of a reflection or whatever. Whenever you have a very flexible schedule where more of practical component is what you need to concentrate on, flipped classroom model of blended learning is the best one to choose from. Okay, this is another one. Mrs. M, a nursing faculty, was given a group of students to teach neonatal nursing care. She made an online content explaining the principles of neonatal care and shared with the students. She planned a small group discussion under her supervision, following which she had a session with the group for a feedback and improving their training. Can anyone just tell what model is operating over here? So what are the answers, Dr. Sharmila?
Small group discussion is coming.
Yes, small group discussion, of course, right?
We are waiting for the answers.
So think in terms of what exactly is happening. There is an online content, there is a offline content, and there is something about giving feedback and then improving their training at a personal level. Any more answers? It's a small group teaching scenario accepted. And if you just see here what exactly is happening, there is a group work that is happening, a collaborative learning in presence of the supervisor. And already something has been shared online to the students. And then a personalized intervention of a feedback on how to improve their training one-to-one is between the nursing supervisor and the students are happening. It is nothing but it is called as flux model, which is very flexible to individualized training, wherein you need an intense training that needs to happen when also the students or the learners are geographically spread across. Some may be in the hostel, some may be in the home, some may be somewhere else. So if such a sort of students are there, and moreover, you need a personalization and customization that is required, because what you are teaching is something very important or very intense type of training is needed. Then you can go in for a flux model wherein you share something where the student, and then they will do a collaborative activity in presence, and then you go back to the students and give personalized training or improvement according to their level of expertise, what they have, the students have achieved. So this is nothing but the flux model in operation. And it is a very flexible training schedule. When you have a lot of time, that can be done. There is another one person. He is Dr. R. He took a very detailed class discussion on a case of congestive heart failure for the 6th semester in the class. And he shared some relevant additional material with the class through online portal. Then he followed it with a self-assessment for the students. So I think many of you must be able to relate to this type of a class where you take a class and then share something with your students. And then maybe you will share a Google form with them, or you just give a quiz for them to answer. And if what is this or what model is happening over here, can anyone just tell us? Yes. Dr. Shami, is there any answers coming?
Waiting, Bhuba. I'm waiting for the answers.
Yeah. So this is something which most of us are doing. So probably I'm just telling you the names for whatever scenarios already we all know. Okay. If no answers are coming,
Online drive model, LGT.
online
drive model.
Yes. Then
I get like LGT.
okay. Large group teaching.
Large group teaching.
Yes.
Only 2 answers we have.
Yes. So now what we saw here, the model that is operating is a large classroom, as you have told, and a supplementary online training with a little bit of materials and some assessment added to it. It is called as a la carte model, where everything is separate. You can just pick and choose from them, where the learning is primarily in the classroom. and a little bit of online supplementation just to keep track of the students whether they are learning or not. This is called as a la carte model. And finally, Dr. A has created a short course for the interns on intubation. He made a series of detailed content videos as modules with a self-assessment through the learning portal. And he conducted a single face-to-face session for the training with dummies after the online modules were completed by the students successfully, followed by a reflection session. So he has made a lot of online content and posted everything through a learning portal. And he was able to keep track of what the students have done or not done.
E-learning.
E-learning, yes. There is one more thing here. He conducted a single face-to-face session. So it is not entirely full e-learning. He has majority is self-paced learning with a mandatory classroom training, and most of that is communication between the teacher and the student through the internet with series of content delivery. This is called as enriched virtual model of blended learning, where primarily online will be the content with a mandatory classroom training. Whenever you have less faculty and whenever you have some important things to be trained, then this is the model that can be very well taken and applied into in case of blended learning. So if you have just seen through all these 5 models, there are multiple other models are also existing. I have just tried to group in this into this 5 broad models. And everywhere you see an online content, everywhere you see an offline or a face-to-face content, and there were a portion of alignment of these two happening. So these are all the models which you can take as the recipes for making your cocktail. And before deciding what model you want to put in for your students, if you can answer these questions, it will guide you to the model which you will be applying properly. So what are the course needs, why, and what is the learner's demography, and how are we going to schedule the module, how complex is the content, and what are the resources available. If you can just answer to this very clearly, then you know which model will be suitable for you and take that recipe, and that will be your cocktail ultimately at the end. Okay, we have seen some of the recipes for making our blended cocktail. Can you just share with me or share with us rather the technological tools you have been using in the recent times for effective teaching learning sessions? You have been using so many things for the online classes. Yes. Now we are just connected through Zoom platform. You must have been all familiar with the Zoom. So what are all the technological tools you have been using? Yes, simulation, Google Forms, YouTube videos, Google Classroom, Zoom, Kahoot. Yes. Definitely you people would have been using a lot. Kindly just share with us. Zoom polls. Yes. Google Classroom and Zoom are, I think, topping the list. Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. We have been from gamified to we have become Zoomified. This pandemic has given that. Yes, Google Meet, Webex. Okay. Any other technological tool? Yes, every one of us have been using Google a lot. I guess you have your own learning management system. Very good. You see, the prominent answers from among 9 of those who have attempted this poll is Google Classroom and Zoom. Okay, somebody is putting Sim Capture Pro simulation. Yes. Self-recorded videos. YouTube.
Getting some answers from chat also, like Microsoft, LMS, Moodle.
Okay, LMS, Moodle, Microsoft. Okay, thank you for your answers. Now, if I just put in all these toolkits, otherwise, I have the recipe, I need to put in the ingredients. You have already told the two major ingredients which we have been using. The learning management system, either it is a Moodle or your SRM learning management system or Google given learning management system. So any of these management systems we are all very familiar with already. And the communicating platform, Zoom or WebEx. And many of us definitely would be using social media to use some sort of WhatsApp messages, this group, that group, putting in information, definitely. And then Kahoot and EduPuzzle, maybe games, some games, and the content delivery in the form of YouTube, your own PPTs or ebooks, sharing some e-content. So this or some of the ingredients. So I think these are all the answers already that has come to me, right? I'm just going to focus your attention into one thing. We already know that blended learning is an attempt to balance these two things between our face-to-face and the online. And is it only the balancing of the content, or rather I would say it is the balancing of the interaction and engagement and collaboration with the learner isolation and difficulty with motivation. If you just recall the answers which we got in the first challenges, many of you would have made that whether the learners are engaged with us, whether the learners are there listening to our class, whether the learners are motivated or not. So that is a main criteria as far as online is concerned, where we have to have interaction, we have to have engagement, we have to have collaborative activities. At the same time, we have to balance it such a way that not even a single learner should be isolated and the motivation level shouldn't go down. So this balance is what our toolkit needs to achieve. Otherwise, our ingredients, if you are going to put that ingredient, it should blend in such a way that no single taste will be predominantly seen. If you people have tasted any cocktail or mocktail, you know it is a mixture always. You will not be able to find one single taste separately. So likewise, your blended learning should also be a mixture of everything, and everything should be taken care of. For that, I'm just going to introduce you to still more technological tools which are open source, freely available, which you can just think about, try and use it. One is called as Mote. Whenever we talk about feedback, writing a feedback will be always a tedious process. And the Mote is if you are a one person who is using Google as one of your important learning management system, the Mote is an extension of Google Chrome, and you can just take it and plug in as a plugin, and where you can just record as you give the feedback, the voice can be recorded and it will go as an audio file. As you correct papers, as you give feedback for their activities, it is a very easy way where you can give feedbacks. It is open source, so it is easily available for everyone to use. The next one is called as Kayalo. It is a platform where debates and discussions. If you are thinking of an activity where a debate or a discussion among a small group or even a large group, Kayalo is a very easy to use collaborative platform where you can have even hundreds and hundreds of students simultaneously participating, sitting anywhere in the world. So this is a very easily user-friendly collaborative tool. The next one is Classweek. Many of us has a lot of diagrams to share with our students. Many of us has a lot of PDF material which we will be sharing from books or from our own materials also. This is Classweek is an type of tool which help you to annotate, and you can draw with this tool. And in drawings which you have already have photographs, you can annotate, make corrections, make arrow marks very easily, and it is very easy compared to Adobe. So it is a tool which can be used whenever you want to share any of the things. And the next one is called as video ant. You will be creating small ants. So it is very useful whenever you are taking, somebody has told about very difficult to teach bedside learning, clinicals. For those people who have put in those answers, this video ant is a very important tool that can be used. So this video ant, what you will be doing is you shoot a video, then sit with a video ant and create small chunks in between with what you want to explain there as an annotation. Also, you can put in the annotations in the video itself. It's a very important, and you can take a half an hour video, cut it into multiple ants and small chunks. You can give it to our students so that it will be easy for them to understand and assimilate. And the next one is called as dot storming. It's again a discussion collaborative tool, and it is more for brainstorming. So whenever you are giving a case scenario, problem-based learning scenarios for your students, if you are going to use this dot storming, it will be very easy and it will be very engaging for the students to come into and brainstorm and come up with their answers. So these are all some of the open source freely available tools which can be very easily used because of their very easy user friendliness. And for an effective blended learning experience, you need to have a learning management system for seamless delivery of the online content. You need to have educational gaming tools and social media pages for interactivity and engagement of the students. You need to have wikis, blogs, discussion boards like Dotstorm and Kaelo for collaborative learning. You have to give some formative assessment. You can use Mote, or still more, you can have digital badges wherein once the student finishes something, immediately the badge comes in. And then you can have facilitator presence through the webinars and communication through Zoom or WebEx or any platform like that. And you can have a lot of content repository in the form of simulations, videos, case studies, podcast if you are very good in your way of expressing things with your voice. Make podcasts and share with your students. So these are all very good ingredients to make your recipe worthwhile. So which one to use depends upon what you already know and what you already have in your hand. Then the technicality of the tool, how the technicality of all these is, whether it is server-based, cloud-based, whether it is open source or whether it is paid, whether you are able to sync whatever learning management system you are using with the tool. And then you have to think about student interaction with the tool, whether the student needs to log in multiple times to use some tool, or whether he can be able to use it even in offline, whether the student needs a special training to use all these tools. All this you have to take into consideration before deciding on which tools you will be putting into. And other considerations are, you have to keep track of the students also. So the data output from the tool will be in which form, whether you have the technical support or not, that is very essential. And you go for a tool which is very user friendly, which doesn't need a lot of technical expertise, then you will be very safe. So decide based on all these things and choose your ingredients. Okay. So we have just seen the approaches. we have seen the ingredients, and so we know what recipe we want to make. We have taken the ingredients for that. Before we proceed further, I just want you to just answer to these little bit of poll also, where what are the probable challenges that will hinder effective implementation of learning blended learning modules? What do you think are the probable causes? Ill-defined and no uniform understanding of blended learning. Okay. So low skills in using technology, limitation of tools for design and evaluation, and others. You can give multiple answers also in this. If you think all the three are okay. So most of you are just feeling that there is no uniform understanding and little bit ill definition for blendedness. And of course, technology, we will be learning here. Limitations of tools for design and evaluation. Okay. So as most of you are thinking that understanding what blended learning is all about is the main thing. Okay. So slowly, the design and evaluation is gaining in. Okay. So if for me, if you ask me, I'll say all the three are the challenges, because you have to understand what exactly is the blended learning, and then you have to have, because that is the base, and then you have to have the what ingredients you want, what recipe you want. So if it is so, then we are now going to organize our equipments and ingredients and then put it into, in terms of, we already know we have some intended outcomes. Already CBME has given us at the end of this year, the student should be competent in this. So we have our intended outcomes. We know what type of assessments, whether it's a summative or formative assessments we are. And based on the assessment, we choose certain methods of teaching learning activities, which will help us to deliver the content so that the intended outcome is reached. This triangle we are all very familiar with. So now we are just going to take this and implement in a blended learning scenario. So this is just a course blueprint, a template. So whether it is a subject or a region or a segment, whatever you are trying to do a blended module, you just state what is that exactly. And in that, if you want to divide it into small modules, then name those modules. And each of the modules will have one or more than one competency. And just take the competency from the CBME and then put it over here. And then for each of the competency, you know there will be multiple objectives. So try to put in those objectives. And for each of the objectives, what will be the assignment, what will be the activity, what will be the project or a case discussion, what you are going to do, you finalize it. So I think by this time, every one of you who has done the CBME blueprinting would be having such type of course blueprint very ready with you. I assume that. Yes. Now we are going to just answer 10 steps before we put all our ingredients together to make the cocktail. The first step or the first question is, what are the intended learning outcomes? Exactly what will be the end of the class you want your student to learn. Then, which would be better achieved online or which would be best achieved offline? If you have two outcomes, then you decide whether it can be done with the online or with a face-to-face. Then you just pick out the type of activities you think will be used. If it is online, what will be the activities? If it is face-to-face, what will be the activity? Then what are the expected challenges? So once you put certain activity, you definitely know, okay, my students will be able to do it. My students will not be doing it. So you pen down those challenges, especially for the online content and the ways to handle it. And then how much of time you want to give to face to face and how much of time you want to give to online. So that proportion you have to decide. All these things you can do as a person if you are the one who was giving a small course in one small chapter, or if it is the whole department that is going to go into blended learning mode. The whole department has to sit together and answer to each one of the blueprint. Take each one of the competency. The competency will be the learning outcome finally, and start answering these questions. The sixth step will be, what do you plan to do help your students get ready for it? So if you are thinking of some of the online tools, if you think that students also need some technical training, then you have to think about it. And then you have to divide the percentage of time between these two things, and what means you will use to assess the students at the end of the two components. And then what are the steps you would take to help the students be aware of instructional technology and what is the support system? So how will you communicate otherwise? And finally, how will you, once you have done all this, communicated, then you have put in the blended things, how will you evaluate whether the students are getting too much of online content, whether their workload has increased disproportionately when compared to the previous traditional classrooms? So you have to just take a answer to all these questions, and then you will get a very clear idea of where you are standing in with respect to the blend. And once you have done that, something like this will be there in your hand. So the course will be an introductory course. The topic is acute inflammation. There are many pathology, may acute, chronic, vascular disease, neoplasia, like that the topics are going. And in one of the topics, it has been little bit elaborated. There will be a face-to-face lecture, and then there will be a practical or a tutorial will also be inserted in between. Then online modules about appendicitis and pneumonia, which will be made in terms of 1 to 3 short modules, and followed by again a practical class and a tutorial. And then there will be a feedback integration session where face-to-face using Echo 360 degree and active learning platform. So this is an example I have shared where people have used this. Echo 360 is a 360 degree feedback mechanism in one of the learning platforms that is available. So like this, you should be having for each and every one of your topic, every one of your competencies. This making the blueprint is very, very essential before you think of implementing a blended learning module. And I would like you to just experiment with creating a such type of design. So we will collaboratively do it now. So you can just scan this or go into this link. Dr. Sharmila, can you just put this link in the chat box for everyone to just go into?
Yes, ma'am, I'm doing that.
So once you go into this, you will be going into
Yes, too, I had shared the link in the chat box.
Yeah. So you can all just enter into it. Once you enter, you will be looking like, you will see a screen like this. This is a wall, Padlet wall. Hope you are all able to get into this Padlet wall. Yes. So now just think of, you can just use this plus symbol over here in everywhere, and you can just put in, if you just click it, a box will open like this. Are you able to see my screen?
Oh, yes, we can. Yes.
Yeah. So you can type whatever you want over here. And then once you type, for example, I'm just typing, and then if you put this as publish, it will be coming wherever you want. So likewise, you can just collaboratively, we can just put in and create a design for at least one or two competencies. Any one of you can just volunteer, put in a competency over here. And for that, somebody can just put an objective. And then for that objective, what will be the final assessment? The assessment can be given whether it is a face-to-face assessment you want or an online assessment you want. And then you can put in what are the learning activities, whether it is face-to-face class, then what are the activities, whether it is an online class, you can just put in some activities. And then you can put in what is the integration between the face-to-face and online class. What is that integrating activity which you are trying to put in? I would invite a volunteer to just put in some competency so that we will be creating a model blended learning design over here. And if somebody puts in, another person can go here and comment also. You can just type in the comment if somebody has written something. So it is a very useful collaborative tool. Whenever you give your students a group work, multiple people can log in from anywhere. If you have that QR code or the link, and then you can just keep on adding contents into it. It is called as a Padlet wall. And finally, you can take, there are options that can come over here. You can just take a printout of it, you can export it, you can share it with other people, and you can take a printout and as a sheet it can come. So it is a very, very, very useful tool to use. Identify the etiology of meningitis based on given CSF parameters. Okay. So describe and discuss the principles of hemostasis. Okay. 1 hour theory class. So he has given, whoever has put in has given. So here, this 1 hour theory, I am just adding over here. Okay, so for that person, 1 hour theory has been added over here. Yes, demonstrate musculofacial expression under nerve supply. Okay, so what will be the, this is an objective. So what will be the assessment you will have and what will be the activity you will be having for this? And somebody has put in, write a rational legible prescription for a case of mild to moderate hypertension and communicate the same to the patient. Very good. If that is the objective, I think here I will write an activity for it. It is a online prescription writing. Okay. So assessment will be this. But there is one more thing he has given in the objective. So I need one more assessment. Face-to-face standard patient communication as communication station. You can make it as a station or it can be. So these two things. And for this, you can have online right, return test and viva. Very good. So online parts of prescription, I'm just putting in. And then this segment, what will be the linking activity between your online content and your offline content? So you have one online, you have one offline, there should be some communicating area. So where you can put a demo class. So likewise, you think about each of your things and you can keep on writing for each one of that. And like this, you need to have an offline content, you need to have an online content, there should be a link content. Okay. A minute, I'll just share the one minute. I am not able to share my screen. I'll just give me a second. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
No, Guma. It's not coming.
Okay. I don't, 1 minute. This is what technology. Yes.
Yes, it's
Now
started
you're,
coming.
yeah.
Yes.
So I was just going between two platforms and that was what happened. Sorry for the little troubleshoot. And as you have seen, this is what we just did it there. So when what you want your students to demonstrate and exactly what the students will be doing and how ultimately the students will be assessed and after what experiences with what activities and finally how the online and offline content is connected through. This is what is about blended learning. You have online, you have offline, you have to connect it somewhere. There should be a bridge or a connection. That is what blending is all about. Without that, the right blending with the flexibility and elasticity and the synchronicity between the online and offline, there is no blended learning happening. So when you just, if you have seen, just remember cocktails, all the drink will be there. But what attracts the cocktail, one is the color, the another one will be a piece of lemon, a piece of orange, your umbrella, your different type of straw. I think you all must have seen. So the decorations are odd and support, which are very essential to differentiate it from rest of the other drinks. So those decorations are nothing but we have three things that are happening. One is in the face-to-face component, the student and the teacher are collaborating, interacting with each other. At the same time, in the online, the student is integrating with the content very well. And there is a connection between the teacher and the content, whether it is offline or online. But what we need is A communication between student to student, that is student collaboration, a teacher to teacher, where the teacher is also collaborating, and content to content. This is very, very important as far as the blended learning is concerned. Whatever you content, whether it is in the online or in the offline, the content has to talk with each other. So that is where the collaboration, engagement, and the integration of offline and online comes. When you are able to do this interaction, communication, and integration, then a deep and meaningful blended learning can happen. So without this communications and collaborations, all these things will be separate, separately, they will be happening in their own spheres. There will be no blending happening. So the add-on support is the type of integration what you want. So you have to decide what are all the integrations I need in my blended learning. To get all these types of integration or collaboration will be little difficult. So you can just think, okay, I want student to student discussions or interaction has to happen, so that we will be eliminating the student isolation in the online section. Or sometimes you can think of content to content integration, so that the engagement of the student with the content will be more. So you decide which one you want for a particular objective and for a particular outcome, for a particular activity, what you have decided in the blueprint. When you have done all these things, very quickly go through what will your students do. So what they will do, create a list, whether you have a thing or not, you just decide what you will do during the course. The preparatory task, capacity building of your team, everything you will be doing in the preparatory stage. How will you provide the feedback for the students? So activities that need the formal and informal feedback, and concentrate on more informal feedback, because that is what will improve their training or learning. And which activities would you best carried out in the offline and online, a proportion you have made or not. So decide based on your situation, and or your course design components align. So you have to see whether the checking and crossing of the alignment, whether the things are aligned with each other, your outcome, your assessment thing, and your activities. So check whether all these are aligned in the blueprint, and whether the face-to-face and online component is integrated or not. So make an activity which connects both. And have you considered your instructional challenges? So address the challenges and evaluate the workload on the students. This is the final checklist before you just take in a blended learning. Once you have done your blended learning, you will be having a cocktail. You can enjoy your cocktail of blended learning. And once you have done that, you will need to evaluate what you have done. The evaluation consists of multiple spheres. It starts with course outcome evaluation to the individual perspective evaluation in terms of a learner perspective and a teacher's perspective. Or it can be a course organization, the whole college or the institution can take up this, where they will be evaluating the design and planning, the content delivery, the technology used, and assessment that is being used. Or it can be at the institutional level, where the institutional availability of the infrastructures and the context were properly done or not. So according to what type of blended learning, at what level you are doing it, the evaluation can differ in any of this, can be coming in any of these spheres. And finally, the take home message will be, never try to mimic the face-to-face teaching online. That is not blended learning. Decide your approach and the tools that are needed for your approach, and plan your blending blueprint. So you have, when you have all these three things,